Hi, Kathy.
Hello, Wendy.
Sorry I'm late.
Not to worry. I was the one who was tardy last time, so now we're even.
Okay.
All right. As we get started, I'd like to thank you very much for letting me sit in with you and Mrs. Barlow today. It's always very, very helpful to be right there, part of the action. I see you have your action plan.
I do.
Excellent. I have mine here as well, so I'm looking forward to comparing our notes, strengths, and opportunities that each of us has identified. Before we actually get started, Wendy, is there anything else that you have to add to our agenda?
Well, there's one thing I wanted to speak with you about. My grandson will be starting kindergarten next month, and I'm going to need to adjust my hours so I can pick him up in the afternoons.
Okay, well, first of all, kindergarten already?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, he's growing much too fast.
Yeah.
What time will you need to pick him up?
At 3:25.
3:25, is that Monday through Friday?
Yes. I know it might be difficult, Kathy, but my daughter needs my help.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you, Wendy, letting me know now so that we have some time to figure this out. So how about if it's possible, if you come in early tomorrow before the lobby opens, we'll sit down and we'll discuss this in greater detail. Will that work?
Yeah, I can be there early, and thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Now, action plan. Mrs. Barlow, what did you identify as strengths, Wendy?
Well, I think I used a proper greeting. I smiled. I made her feel welcome. I feel pretty good about that.
Good. I agree. And you're always consistent with that. In fact, there were 2 points that I wanted to make because I was hoping and anticipating you would say greeting. I had that on my action plan too. ECET, every customer, every time, is something that we've had a lot of emphasis on over the last year. And the genuine personal connection I saw you make with Mrs. Barlow, I heard you listening to her, and I saw the delight on her face. And it also made me think of, and that's why I had both of these additional pieces of documentation along, your mystery shop scores for establishing good customer relations is always, always very strong. The greeting, the standing, the offering to assist in a seat. So I just wanted to pull those things together because that's what I saw you demonstrate this morning.
Yeah, well, thanks.
You're welcome. What other strengths did you notice?
I asked good questions, at least questions to understand how she uses her current checking account, plus other accounts she has elsewhere.
Okay, you did. And they were open-ended questions. You got a lot of information from Mrs. Barlow, and I was very impressed with that too. I do have a question. How comfortable are you asking personal financial questions, Wendy?
I'm fine with them because I know that I need the information in order to share products that can benefit our customers.
Okay, good. Well, I was impressed, and it led to a checking account, which you've been working on. So, as a part of results coaching, so I was pleased to see that. You also did, I noted here, a very nice job of explaining the benefits of those ancillary products. And as a result, not only did you get the checking, but because of the emphasis on convenience and saving time, you got the debit card, the overdraft protection, and the online banking too. So my compliments.
Well, thanks again.
You're welcome. Let's switch to the other side of our action plan sheets here. Opportunities, what'd you note?
Well, I couldn't cross-sell her anything besides the checking and the services that go with it. I tried to suggest a savings account and an appointment with our investment rep, but she wouldn't budge.
Would not budge. No, I saw that. Why do you think that happened?
I guess she just doesn't have any savings or investment needs at this point in time.
Possibly. Or it could be, Wendy, that there's an opportunity for you to become more skilled and more practiced at asking good needs assessing questions for other areas of financial need like saving and investing, because those were questions that I did not hear. What I heard was you ask Mrs. Barlow, are you interested in scheduling an appointment with our investment rep, to which she said no. So something to think about.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Other opportunities you noted?
No, that's all I have.
Okay. Well, I have one other that I want to share, and that is right now Mrs. Barlow is not anticipating or expecting any follow-up from you, which is one of our best practices to establish the expectation with customers that whether it's 3 days or 3 weeks or 3 months, that you are going to be contacting them to continue to address their needs. And that did not happen. So what is your reaction to that?
Well, I agree with you. I think I can still call Mrs. Barlow back, though.
You can. You most certainly can. And I appreciate you offering it and saying that. So I think that's a great follow-up to our discussion now. What out of the things that we have talked about so far would you identify as priority for action planning, Wendy?
Well, I think I can work on both the needs assessing questions that you were talking about and scheduling follow-up at the same time. And I think I can use Mrs. Barlow to do that.
No, I totally agree with that. I really do. So I appreciate you saying it. Let's then begin to talk about the actual action steps that to work on this. What's the first thing that you could think of or that you might have written down?
Well, I didn't write them down until now as I'm thinking about it now, but I need some needs assessing questions that I can use when I call her or other customers.
Agreed. Good place to start. What else?
I need to be prepared to suggest some next steps for when I call back Mrs. Barlow.
Excellent. Always good to have an objective in mind, what you'd like to accomplish based on the information that we have available. Let me see here. Anything else that you can think of?
I don't think so.
Okay. May I suggest a couple of additional steps?
Sure.
Okay. You are so correct at creating a list of needs assessing questions for saving and investment in the case of Mrs. Barlow. If you could get those done and to me before end of day, I could take a look at them, and then when we get together tomorrow morning, after we visit about your schedule, Wendy, that would be a perfect time for me to share any feedback on those questions.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to also suggest that we take that opportunity and go ahead and practice role play like we're used to, those questions right off the bat before you call Mrs. Barlow.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Then finally, the only other thing that I can think of is that when we do that practice, to also brainstorm what those next steps might be with Mrs. Barlow.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I'm getting a little lost in details right now, so Wendy, would you walk back through what are the action steps that have been identified here today?
Okay, well, I think we've decided that the first thing I'll do is create a list of those needs assessing questions, and I'm going to try to get those to you by the end of day today.
Yes.
Tomorrow, after we talk about my scheduling, I could get your feedback on those questions and find out what you think about them. And maybe if we have time tomorrow or after tomorrow, we can practice and role play before I call Mrs. Barlow back.
Perfect.
And the last thing you mentioned was to brainstorm some possible next steps.
Yes.
So I'd like to do that too. Yep.
Perfect. I look forward to visiting with all of that, about all of that with you tomorrow, and then I'm going to very much look forward to how that call with Mrs. Barlow goes.
Okay.
All right. Anything else for our coaching session today then?
I don't think so. Thank you.
All right. Wendy, I do appreciate it. I look forward to our next developmental coaching.
Okay.